You know, when you think about the biggest moments in modern history, the most critical, most dangerous missions, there's almost always an unseen force at play. A group of pilots who live and operate in a world the rest of us never even get a glimpse of. So, who are these people? Who are these shadow pilots flying into places no one else would dare to go? Well, to get the answer, you've got to dive into a story that's all about secrecy, failure, and, well, the relentless pursuit of absolute perfection. And here's the first thing you absolutely have to get about them. They are ghosts. Most people, and that includes a lot of the military, will never, ever see them. And that's not an accident. That is 100% by design. So to really get who these guys are today, we have to go back to the very beginning. And what's kind of wild is that this super elite unit, it wasn't born from some big, glorious victory. Nope, it was born from a total, catastrophic failure. Okay, so picture this. It's 1980. The U.S. tries to rescue American hostages in Iran. You might know it as Operation Eagle Claw, and it is an absolute disaster. That failure, though, it shined a massive spotlight on a huge problem. The military had no one, literally no one, who could fly special ops forces deep into enemy territory at night. So the solution? If you don't have them, you create them. And just like that, the 160th was born. And they are the Night Stalkers. That's the cool name. Officially, they're the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, or SOAR. And their job? It sounds simple, but it's incredibly hard. Fly the world's most elite soldiers, anywhere on the planet, under the total cloak of darkness. But look, you don't create a unit like this with just fancy helicopters and new technology. It's really about a mindset, a kind of creed that takes a regular soldier and forges them into something else entirely. And really, it all boils down to just four words. Four words that define everything they are and everything they do. It's not a suggestion, it's not a goal. It is an absolute truth. Night Stalkers don't quit. So what does that mean in the real world? Well, it means these pilots are playing a whole different ballgame. They're pushing their aircraft, which are often secretly modified with insane tech, right to the absolute limit. We're talking flying nap of the earth, scraping the ground lower and faster than anyone else alive, period. So, how do you actually own the dark? It's a four-part recipe. 1. You fly so low you're practically a car. 2. You fly faster than the enemy can even think about reacting. 3. You fly quieter than a whisper, using special rotors to become a ghost in the sky. And 4. The secret ingredient? You rehearse, relentlessly, obsessively. And that rehearsal part, that is everything. For the Night Stalkers, training doesn't just happen. It never stops. Every single mission is flown over and over and over again, in simulations and in real life. Why? Because there is zero room for error. In their world, one tiny mistake isn't just a bad day at the office, it costs lives. All right, so where has all this training and skill actually shown up? You've seen their work. Even if you didn't know it, they've been the invisible hand behind some of the most famous, most intense operations you've ever heard of. Remember Black Hawk Down, the book, the movie, the real events in Mogadishu, Somalia back in '93? Well, those pilots, the ones flying into that absolute storm of bullets and RPGs, refusing to leave their guys behind? Yep, those were Night Stalkers. Okay, now let's jump forward to 2011. The raid on Osama bin Laden's compound in Pakistan. SEAL Team 6 needed a ride. But not just any ride. They needed a silent, ghost-like insertion, completely undetected. Who do you think got that call? Of course, it was the Night Stalkers. Flying helicopters so secret, most people still don't know what they look like. They made the impossible possible that night. But this all leads to the biggest question, right? It's not just what they do, which is amazing. It's why. What's the engine driving this unit? What's at the very core of their culture? It really all boils down to the soul of the unit, and that soul is an ethos of complete and total invisibility. You are not going to see these guys on the news. They don't write memoirs. They have zero, and I mean zero, interest in fame or glory. Their whole world is the mission. It's about doing the impossible night after night and then just disappearing back into the shadows. You can boil their entire purpose down to this one simple, powerful idea. They own the dark skies. They take on all that risk for one reason and one reason only. So the soldiers they're carrying, the Rangers, the SEALs, the Delta Force operators can get to the target, do their job, and most importantly, come home alive. And that's why,
In the end, it all comes back to that simple, unbreakable promise, the one they make to the guys on the ground and to each other. It doesn't matter how hard it is, how dangerous it gets, or what the odds are. Night Stalkers don't quit.
And their whole story kind of leaves you with this big thought. The Night Stalkers are this powerful, invisible force, literally shaping history from the shadows. And it just makes you wonder, what other invisible forces are out there, quietly shaping the world that you and I think we know?